Hi, Anthony. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hi, how are you? My name is Juanita and I'm with Teak Farms. First things first, I just want to let you know that we're recording this. Are you okay with that?
Of course, yeah.
All right, awesome. We do like to get to know a little bit more about the individuals that we might have come work with us or for us. So first things first, do you have any experience within the medical marijuana field or cultivation or dispensaries?
Yeah, so I worked for Downtown Dispensary and D2 Dispensary for roughly 5 years, from like say 2000, I think 2015 to 2020, and I just moved over to Green Halo, and I've worked in a bunch of different realms in the dispensary. I went from bud tending to managing retail and managing inventory, and then even our packaging department when where we would pre-pack our eights and shatter and do the cartridges and things like that. But currently I'm with the Green Halo, and I'm just managing retail at the moment with those guys. I do have cultivation experience, and that's, I feel like my skill set's a little bit better suited for the cultivation world, so that's kind of why I'm trying to get in with you guys here. And
Okay,
yeah,
go
oh,
ahead.
go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no, I was just going to ask you to tell me a little bit more about yourself, like personal wise. I know that that's kind of the rundown of your resume and who you've worked for.
Okay. Well, I'm 33. I grew up in Michigan. That's where I got into the cannabis field. They do, at least when I was there, they did the layout a little bit differently. They operated mainly on caregivers who were growing for the patients. It's changed a little bit, but that's how I got into it. I was very passionate just about giving patients an avenue to get medicine that was safe and effective, and at least they didn't have to say, where's this coming from, what's the quality like, things like that. So mainly for me, the draw to the marijuana industry was through the cultivation stuff, and that's where I began. And when I moved to Arizona, where I met my wife in Chicago, she grew up here in Tucson. So after we found out about our little one coming on the way, we decided to be a little closer to her family. But when I moved to Tucson, I started with the Downtown Dispensary because the growing stuff was so hard to get into at that, in say 2014, 2015. There weren't many sites here in town. There weren't many, wasn't a ton of competition and things like that. So as I moved here, I jumped into the retail environment and really kind of got I don't want to say stuck, but that's where I was needed. So I tried to be as helpful for the business and things like that as possible. But yeah, I'm 33. I want to try something that I think would better suit my skill set, and I've got a 7-year-old daughter, and I'm married, and just a nice little family that we're just trying to. It's weird right now with this pandemic thing, her going to school through Zoom and all that, but it's cool that at least something's happening.
All right, so talk to me a little bit about your strengths and weaknesses.
I think as strengths, I'm a very fast learner. I'm easily trainable. I have a ton of experience in my estimation in this industry, with just the different realms that I've been able to see, and things like that in the dispensary world. As far as other strengths, I was lucky enough to go to college and finish that up, so I think that's a pretty good strength of mine. I've in terms of weaknesses, I do think I can be a little bit of maybe a perfectionist at times. So when certain tasks call for not like the most specific attention to detail, it's a little one of those things where I don't want to say I'm slow or take too long, but I just like to make sure all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed, if you will. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. As far as other weaknesses, maybe that would specifically be with this position. I don't have commercial grow experience. I did have a chance to work at the grow, downtown's grow, in a packaging sense. So I did get a chance to talk to a lot of the people that work there, and things like that. So as far as weaknesses, maybe not having the most commercial experience with cultivation, but I do have a lot of experience growing in tents, indoors. I currently still grow at the house in a tent, in a couple of tents. So still very familiar with it, but in terms of just weaknesses, I may not have the most experience that y'all are looking for in a commercial sense.
Okay, I do kind of want to clarify because it sounds like you're trying to lean towards getting involved in cultivation, and the
Hmm.
position that we kind of had you in mind for had absolutely nothing to do with growing or cultivation. It was the areas that we saw on your resume that we were looking
Sure.
for that we kind of needed. So basically dealing with things like managing like wholesale
Yeah.
accounts, the data related to that, in conjunction to packaging.
Love it. Okay. And
So
that's
those
something
are
that I would definitely be very interested in as well. I didn't want to, how do I say this? Pigeonhole myself, if you will, but I have, as far as my, dealings, like the packaging stuff, I managed that for almost 2 years downtown. And we had, we flew through product. I'm sure you guys, I've seen a lot of your, the Instagram stuff, and the cultivation seems pretty large, and I'm sure there's a ton going on there, but I feel like that is my strong suit, to be honest with you, what you were talking about with the packaging and things like that.
That's where we kind of need help. Like our grow and our cultivation's doing fine. We actually have
Cool.
John who used to work at Grow Science. He's our master grower, and we have the assistant grower. We pretty much have everybody that's within the grow department
Okay.
there. But what we need help in were those areas that I was kind of talking to you about. Are
Totally.
you able to like lift 40 pounds? You have the capability of doing things like sales?
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, I did primarily sales before my cannabis field. I was a sales rep in the beer and wine industry, and sales for the linen rental industry. So I've called on a lot of accounts. I've managed vendors and things like that. So I do have a pretty good feel for what would entail with that stuff, I feel like, too.
Okay, so you're definitely able to do things that relate to the management of sales, like being able to upkeep
Hmm.
with the data, like price points and who we're selling to and all that good stuff.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, manage customers and make sure that the accounts are happy and they've got their orders filled and things like that. I definitely think I could do a very good job in that realm.
Okay, awesome. So as far as just working for our company, what I've learned is something that's really important to have are just basic critical skills and problem solving skills. Could you tell me about a time when you had to learn something completely new?
Yeah. When I started my new job at the Green Halo, we used a different point of sale system and a different, I guess, tracking system for all the inventory and things. And the first day there, I had all my preconceived notions for my old job and the old sales system, and learning the new one was definitely a trip. It was, you get used to the layout of certain applications and things like that. But I was definitely challenged the first day when I saw that we had a different system, because I was experienced. I thought I'd be able to pick up things fast, but I just had to kind of slow down with all of the patient facing stuff and just focus more on the sales system and the computer and making sure I was, clicking the right buttons, attention to detail and things like that. But that was definitely something I had to learn most recently that I can think of that kind of threw me for a loop. But it was, like I said, I'm a pretty fast learner and I pick up things pretty quick. So it wasn't too big of a deal, but that was the most recent one I could think of.
Okay, awesome. Do you consider yourself to be like an organized person?
Definitely. Yeah. I pride myself in my organization. It's about the only way you can keep your head about you in this industry with how many things are going on.
Okay, perfect. Also, um, basically, Teak Farms, everybody here is super positive. Everybody does everything for like the greater good of the company.
Cool.
Could you give me an illustration of when you had to work on a team and kind of how you maneuver?
Yeah. Well, like as far as it ties in with the greater good of the company, there's I close some evenings at the dispensary, and
Yeah.
on busy evenings there'll be 30 people out the door when we close, and it's one of those things that you have to sit there and say, we got to help these people that were here. Well, we're going to be here an hour later tonight. But for the good of the business and taking care of our patients, we're going to have to work a little bit longer, just to make sure we do what's right. And, those nights aren't always the funnest, but you got to do what's right for the people. And like you said, making sure that I guess the whole thing is bigger than us. You got to make sure the brand and the business always has the number one concern and things like that, because we're all just puzzle pieces to the bigger thing here.
All right, awesome. Also within being in a team playing and having to work with other people, conflict
Mm-hmm.
can arise, right? Can you tell me about a situation or a time when maybe you weren't seeing eye to eye with someone and how you kind of handled or were able to overcome that situation?
Yeah. When I was packaging for downtown and for D2, we had to distribute products to both dispensaries, but we packaged it all from one room. So the owner thought it would be the best idea, and the director thought it'd be best idea to do daily transfers from our packaging room all the way over to D2. And some days we didn't have enough product to bring, so basically him and I had this discussion where it was like, sometimes I don't think the trips are worth it if we don't have enough, and sometimes I think we may be running too many things over there. But basically, just through I guess talking to each other, seeing eye to eye on what our concerns were, we were able to work out like a quality arrangement in terms of how many times we delivered to that vendor, just so we weren't shorting product and we weren't coming so many times that it was a waste of a trip each day to bring, say, 50 units of something. But put it this way, after just like discussions where he was able to listen to my pain points and I was able to listen to his, you're just able to come to a common ground and compromise a little bit and come up with a solution that works a little bit better. And that was something that worked out well for us after we had that conversation. But it was almost like you got to sit there and hash it out before you're able to come to any sort of a real good agreement. If everybody's not communicating, it's just going to be a headache.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
And we want everybody to be kind of passionate about, the field and what they're
Totally.
doing. So
Yeah.
why are you interested in working with us?
Well, I have heard a lot about you guys. I haven't been in the industry for a little bit. I know you guys are not necessarily new, but sort of new in the whole thing.
Oh,
And
we're
I
brand
did,
new.
what's that?
We're brand new.
Yeah. I didn't want to say it that way, because I talked to one of your guys that works at the Grow. He comes in and just says such wonderful things about working there. And like you said, about the positivity and just, he just had such nice things to say. So I thought it was, just important to look into it. But yeah, for me, I've been there on the patient end, knowing how much it helps to be able to access medicine. It's so helpful to so many people in this world especially with the craziness going on now. But my whole thing is like, if I can help patients get access to quality medicine a little bit easier, if I can assist in that process or be someone who's making a difference, that's what matters to me. And that's why I started, growing in Michigan years ago, is I had friends who couldn't get medicine and it was just a big pain in the butt. And I thought, I believe in this as a truly holistic approach to wellness. And I want to be someone who's helping people get it.
Okay, perfect. Do you have any questions for us?
No. I wasn't sure if it was packaging or cultivation. So I do appreciate you kind of laying that out for me. I figured it was a 50-50 on either one or the two. But I'm very excited at either avenue. I
It's
think
mostly sales though. I want to be honest with you.
no,
That's where we kind of need the most help. We need like a lot of organization and management within sales. We actually have our CFO doing a majority of that stuff, and he's supposed to be dealing with finances. So for him to be, going back and
right.
forth, and like I mentioned before, we are like a brand new company. So we're just trying to figure out where our weaknesses are and,
Understood.
what we need to do and who we need to hire and those places. So we're looking for someone in sales. There will be some packaging that'll be required, but for the most part, we're looking.
That makes sense.
And it's even better because you work at a dispensary, so maybe you have some contacts.
I have quite a few from the say 6 or 7 years I've been in this, and I've maintained a lot of great relationships in all my jobs and things like that. So that's I have a lot of sales background, so I think I'd be a really, really good candidate for the position.
Okay, perfect. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to send this over to the CEO if he likes what he sees on here and thinks that you would vibe very well with our team. I will be sending out an email with a confirmation time and day for you to show up at the facility, and then let everybody kind of meet you and you'll meet with some of the executives, and if all goes well, then they'll hire you. That tends
Wonderful.
to be the process.
That makes sense. I like it.
Okay, so if you have any questions, you can always hit us up at the info@teakfarms.com. But outside of that, thank you for meeting with us.
Thank you too, Juanita. I appreciate you squeezing me in at the end of your day. I'm sure you're almost done, so thank you.
No worries. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.